Thank you for checking back at the Busy Lady Life channel. This recipe is a copycat recipe of a Chicagoland favorite, chopped salad. This is Portillo's. Portillo's is a restaurant that's in the area here in Chicago, and they actually have 60 locations all over the U.S., but it is a brand that symbolizes the city of Chicago. Portillo's was built by Dick Portillo when he opened up a little hot dog stand back in 1963, which just transitioned into a brand of Chicago. They're famous for their cheese fries, their Italian beef, their Chicago hot dog, their chopped salad, which you're going to see today. This is my version. I've even tweaked it from the copycat recipe that I see on Pinterest. So feel free to do it yourself. It doesn't have to be what the recipe is if your family has certain preferences. So thank you again for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy and try this recipe and have a little taste of Chicago. With this recipe, you're going to need some tomatoes. I used 1 tomato in this recipe for this big container of what I made of chopped salad. 2 heads of romaine, iceberg lettuce, 1 head, 1 bunch or bag of green onions chopped, 2 stalks of celery. This was something that I added that was not in the recipe. Chicken breast. I used chicken tenderloins in this recipe. I smoked them. You could grill them. Container of gorgonzola cheese, Ditalini pasta, olive oil, white balsamic vinegar. That was hard to find. Bacon, salt and pepper and garlic, Italian seasoning. I used a hard-boiled egg and minced garlic. Here I'm showing you how I made my marinade. I just added some soy sauce and some Worcestershire and a little bit of minced garlic for my marinade. Let it sit overnight with the tenderloins. Here I'm getting prepared to smoke them, so I'm putting yellow mustard all over them. It's the base. It's not going to taste like yellow mustard. It is a base to keep your rub for smoking to stay and adhere to the meat. Then I put seasonings on them, whichever you want to make a base. So I usually start out with onion powder, garlic powder. Those are my bases. And then I go in and add whatever rubs that I want. I'm in love with the hickory salt there that is from Mix and Myron or whatever, from the guy from Georgia from one of those smoking videos and shows. I love that hickory salt. There's this place in Crivitz, Wisconsin that has awesome, it's a little meat shack, it's a meat shop, has great spices, like a whole wall of spices. One of these times I gotta get up there and take a video of that. So I always use their seasoning. They have a Memphis style, which almost tastes like Sweet Baby Ray's. That's what it reminds me of. So I always put that on most of my meats that I'm gonna smoke. So I didn't want to put a lot of that rub on both sides. This is a small piece of meat. I don't want it to be too salty. So on the second side, I didn't put a lot on there. It was kind of very, very light just because I didn't want to overpower the meat. And then it's going into my salad, of course, and it just have this huge smoky rub barbecue flavor and take away from the rest of the flavors of the salad. This is the Ditalini pasta that I have. Now, if you're doing the low carb diet, this great low carb bread company has awesome pastas that are low carb. I didn't try it in this video because I'm giving it to family. Here's my chopped celery. Next, you're going to add 2 heads of romaine lettuce. I cheated and I just used the packaged salad. Honestly, I couldn't even find iceberg lettuce heads. I don't know what happened. I didn't want to travel to too many stores. But anyways, the whole thing of chopped salad is to chop, 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 chop. So you're finely chopping things. And unfortunately, this is the only way you're going to do it is with a knife. I love to use my food processor, but this would turn it into a slurry. So you just finely chop things. Add that, your green onions, into your pasta. There's your chopped salad. I added the chopped salad last. Put in your bacon. I fried up probably about a half pound of bacon. This is a big salad. I'm using a big 9 by 13 container. I also use 2 hard-boiled eggs, 1 tomato. I end up using, I had 5, I think, of those tenderloins. I used 3 or 4. Here I'm making the dressing. The dressing is pretty easy. The only thing that was hard with this is finding white balsamic vinegar. So with that, you're going to use a 1/2 cup of white balsamic vinegar. I used actually 1/4 of the baking oil that I had, and then used a 1/2 cup of olive oil. It calls for 3/4 of olive oil, so you do your whatever you want. I just wanted to add additional bacon flavor, and a fat is a fat, so it didn't matter to me whether it was olive oil or bacon fat. You're gonna add 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, some minced garlic, and then a little bit of salt and pepper. And you're just gonna mix this up in your blender until it's nice and creamy. And this is a nice house dressing or Italian dressing. I usually use kosher salt most of the time in most of my recipes. And then you're gonna pulse this for about 2 minutes just to make sure it's entirely blended. And then we were using this for a cookout, so I didn't actually mix that into my salad at that moment. I brought it with me when we got there and I tossed it in because I don't want it to oversaturate by sitting there for a while. I'd rather pour it on right before and just kind of toss it at the same time. So with this recipe, the things that I would remember is save the lettuce to the very last part that you're adding in, because if you add it in too soon, it gets wilty because you've got pasta that's moist. You've got tomatoes that are moist. So you want to have that at the very end to have that crispness. You're going to add the cheese, the whole container of cheese in there. And you're at the very last thing, we'll be tossing in your dressing. So I really hope you guys enjoy this recipe. It was not hard to make at all, super easy. Portillo's chopped salad copycat recipe. Thanks again for stopping by at my channel and checking out another recipe, and hope to see you again.